Opposition parties say they have tried to stick to their mandate of holding the executive to account, but with opposition numbers standing at 170 seats versus the ruling party's 230 seats, there was always going to be a pushback.
Things like asking questions to the executive, whether written or oral questions. Ministers arrive in the House and they answer in whichever way. Presiding officers don't necessarily hold them to account. And so I think in terms of what we've been able to initiate, I'm incredibly proud of the work of the opposition.
It depended on which minister was appearing before us. You have some of the ministers who do well and who take their job seriously as members of the executive, who would, whenever an opportunity presented itself for them to avail themselves to come to Parliament to account on any issue, those ministers would be here answering questions. But there are some ministers who ran away from accountability.
We could have done better in terms of keeping the executive to account. I think we did not do that very effectively. But it's part of the reality in terms of how Parliament was functioning or not functioning.
We don't believe that Parliament has succeeded in sufficient oversight over the executive. The Zondo Commission clearly pointed out where Parliament failed dismally in holding the executive to account and preventing state capture and corruption. In this last 5 years, we've seen crisis upon crisis upon crisis.
Also received flack from outside.
The integrity of this institution is critically important for the strength of our democracy, and we've seen in recent years how Parliament has been embattled, has been accused of neglecting its primary constitutional responsibilities of holding the executive to account.
The true test of democracy is the extent to which it can ensure that government remains answerable to the people. This is done by maintaining constant oversight of government's actions and performance. Opposition parties say they failed in this when the ANC voted against a probe into the Phala saga involving President Cyril Ramaphosa. They add the failure to establish an ad hoc committee to investigate Eskom as another blot on its performance. Abra Babia, SABC News, Parliament.